Hey guys, as you know, when it comes to recruiting, it's so important to find the right ATS for your recruitment agency, as it could honestly make or break your business. But it is much easier said than done, as a number of different options on the market can really be overwhelming. So that's why I'm excited to introduce a deep dive video about RecruiterFlow. RecruiterFlow was founded in 2019. They're a full stack solution for really ambitious recruiting and staffing agencies. They offer a ton of different features from email sequences, contact enrichment, ATS and CRM functionalities, and recruiting automation. They've won the Best Customer Support Award by users from in 2021, 2, and 3. They won the Get App Best Features in 2023 and also were category leaders in 2001, 2, and 3. And they also won Capterra's Best Value and Best Ease of Use Award in 2001, 2, and 3. In this video, we will start off by having a brief chat introduction with Manan, their co-founder, followed by a deep dive screen share of their products so that you can really get a glimpse and feel for their great features. So make sure you watch till the end as we have a really special announcement just for you. But with that said, let's get started. Thank you so much, Manan, for having me. Really appreciate it.
Well, Preston, it's really my pleasure.
I think a great way to get started is, can you just give an introduction to you, your background, and of course, your amazing product, RecruiterFlow?
Oh, yeah, sure. So I'm Manan. I'm co-founder and CEO of RecruiterFlow. We are a new age applicant tracking and CRM system built specifically for recruiting and staffing businesses. My background, I used to be a through and through engineer who was kind of thrown into sales when I started my first company. We sold that company. Then I joined the acquiring company, a media entity here in India. I was kind of thrown into the world of recruiting, and that was my first introduction to recruiting. And yeah, so we've been working for, we've been building RecruiterFlow for about a bit more than 5 years now. It's been a crazy ride ever since.
So you said that you have a software engineering background. Obviously, throughout your career, you probably went through a handful of interviews in the recruiting cycle yourself. But what specifically inspired you to create RecruiterFlow?
Oh, yeah. So I had no clue how recruiting worked, right? So I knew how software engineering worked. I had a little bit of idea of how sales worked. And when I was thrown into recruiting, I looked at it as a sales problem. So, and I tried to put together a tech stack. And I realized that the entire tech stack that I'm using is built for salespeople, is not really built for recruiters, but it works really well for recruiters. And so that got me into doing research. Okay, why do recruiters don't get amazing technologies and tools that salespeople get? And I couldn't really find an answer. So I thought, okay, maybe there is something over there. And that was the original idea behind RecruiterFlow, that, hey, we want to give the ease of use, the automation that salespeople get to recruiters. So we started with that idea, we started digging deeper, and that's what became RecruiterFlow later.
Wow, that's really great to hear. I know, personally speaking, from my experience on the recruiting and staffing side, especially with small, either whether you're kind of a solo recruiter or you're owner of a small agency that's growing, having the right tools is so important. And there, right now, as of the time that we're filming this in 2023, there's just a ton of new development in the recruiting tech space. And, people are always searching for the best CRMs, the best integrations, the best ATSs. And so before we get into it, a little bit deeper and more technical, where you can kind of really show the audience and I a deep dive, a look behind the curtain, if you will, what would you say are some of the biggest X factors, the biggest competitive advantages of RecruiterFlow compared to many other similar types of products out there?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, all of our competitive advantage or differentiators basically stem from our philosophy that we are not process-oriented, but we are productivity-oriented, right? So typically, recruiting software has been process-oriented, so it gets sold to the management, and then they kind of force-feed it to the rank and file recruiters, sourcers, everybody in the team, right? So we basically flip the whole equation and we say, okay, we are going to build it for recruiters, for people actually who are actually billing, people who are actually getting all the work done. And since we are going to make their life easier, the benefits are going to propagate up, and management is going to just, get much better visibility into their business, right? So there are two main things that we do to achieve this, right? So first is user experience, right? So we look at every user input as an error, right? So which means that with whatever we do, we're constantly striving, how do we make our users spend less time, less clicks, less typing on RecruiterFlow, and more time doing whatever it is that works for them, right? Like whether that is talking to candidates, whether that is, strategizing, sourcing, whatever it is that is working for them, spend more time doing that and less time on your CRM, on your ATS. So that is number one. So it's incredibly easy and simple to use. There is not a lot of learning curve. So if you've used, Facebook, you've used Gmail, you will get the hang of it very, very quickly, right? So it's that simple. That is number one. And number two is automation. So from day one, we put a lot of focus on automation. As salespeople, I see this in football, soccer kind of a game, right? So you have a striker whose aim is to score goals, but you have an entire midfield and wings whose goal is to give assist to that striker. So when we were doing sales, we had a very similar kind of a structure that you have sales who are scoring goals and midfield wing backs whose job is to provide assist. And so that was marketers for that. And that's true for most of the software and SaaS companies. We kind of have a similar kind of setup, but built for recruiters. So you can think of it in a way where it's marketing automation built specifically for recruiters, and that's built into the RecruiterFlow system.
I think speed, experience, and automation is so, so important because recruiting is a speed game at the end of it. You need to find cans fast. You need to be able to organize and track your cans. You need to be able to manage the whole process all the way up to the offers and negotiations and rinse and repeat at scale, right? So I think it's very, very, very difficult to manage all that manually. And then a lot of the other kind of similar products out there, they just lack on the UX, the experience side, or they look clunky and outdated. I think what I like about RecruiterFlow is anyone can kind of go to your website and it's just a fresh design. It's wonderfully trendy. It's to the times, but I think what really makes it appealing, and I'm more excited to kind of dig in and kind of see your product, is really learning more about what have you guys done about the UX, the experience? Because that's really, really important. How do we make sure like an action that typically takes 5 clicks, you guys can probably maybe minimize it to 1 or 2 clicks, right? What part of your product or flow or RecruiterFlow can allow our workflow to just be a lot more optimized and efficient? And of course, automation is just the theme for this year, next year, into the future. We do a lot of mundane things, right? So how do we just rely on a fantastic product or a software that can just take care of a lot of that stuff so we can really focus on our desk and our business? So I'm really excited to kind of learn more about that, specifically about you guys.
Perfect. Yeah. So we can just dive in. I can share my screen and show you around.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and do it.
All right. So this is the heart of your operation. So RecruiterFlow broadly is divided into four subparts: the ATS, which is where you manage your candidates and your jobs, and all your recruiting side operations; the CRMs to manage your client business development, all your client side operations; productivity and automation, that's number 3; and number 4 is reporting and governance, right? So we will do a very quick kind of intro to all 4 of those sections, and then I will spend a little bit more time on automation, right? So this page is designed to give you 30,000 feet view of what's going on across all the different jobs that you're working on with all the different clients, right? So I've got Adobe, Coca-Cola, RecruiterFlow, all these different clients with all these different jobs. And as you can see, these pipeline stages are completely custom. So instead of you having to work around our process, you build your own process and make the software work around it, right? And it's customizable, not at an account level. You can customize it for each and every job that you're working on. And it's very easy for you to get an idea, how many candidates do I have in each stage? And then I can expand a job and see all my candidates laid out like that, right? Like this, right? So it's a very visual kind of a view. This is also very, very customizable. I can just drag and drop candidates from one stage to another. So I just moved Satya from sourced to phone screen, and there we have it. And as I do that, system can trigger automations that, hey, if I move a candidate to phone screen, automatically send them an email with my Calendly link that, hey, Satya, would love to speak with you. Here's my Calendly. Let's talk, right? So something like that. You can do those kinds of things. We integrate with all the leading job boards. So you can basically post jobs from RecruiterFlow to Indeed, to LinkedIn, to ZipRecruiter. And once candidates apply, they will come straight into the system. And we will automatically put these jobs on Google for Jobs. And you can, we give you a very easy drag and drop, no code careers page builder. So especially if you're starting up, you don't have those kind of resources, you can just build a careers page right on RecruiterFlow in less than 10 minutes. This is a candidate profile. It's very simple. On the left-hand side, you've got all the information. Here on the right-hand side, everything that happens with the candidate. Now, we have a two-way sync with your Outlook, with your G Suite, whatever you are using. So what that means is if you exchange any emails, if you have any calendar invites, everything syncs with RecruiterFlow automatically. So you don't have to, be logged into the system or manually log any of your communication with the candidates. We have VoIP integrations. So if you make a call, receive a call, receive text messages to candidates, it automatically logs into the system. And if you use WhatsApp, we integrate with WhatsApp as well. So you can send WhatsApp messages right from the system to your candidates. So essentially, whatever mode of communication that you're using with candidates, it all gets logged into the system automatically. You don't really have to do that manually. That's number one. Number two is whatever IM system that you're using, right? Like whether that is Slack, whether that is Microsoft Teams, whether that is Zoom, right? So to do video calls like this, all of that also integrates with RecruiterFlow. So if I tag someone over here, right? So when I write notes, I can tag my people, right? I'm going to tag my colleague Rohit and say on call with Preston, right? So when I do that, it will automatically send Rohit a Slack message or a Microsoft Teams message that you will tag. So you end up doing a lot of work in your Gmail, on your LinkedIn, on your Slack or Microsoft Teams, and we integrate with all of these platforms to make it super easy for you to work where you are instead of coming back to RecruiterFlow. So that's number one. You can write notes, create tasks, you can do a bunch of different activities on a candidate, and you can also create formatted resumes of candidates, right? So I have Satya. So this is the LinkedIn default resume that we have for Satya. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a formatted resume. I have a bunch of different templates, but I'm just going to pick one, and we will automatically create submittal ready resume with the right kind of information redacted in just one click, right? So this is the cover sheet that we have created. And you can decide on your own format, right? So how big a logo you want, what do you want in your header, what do you want in your footer, what kind of information do you want to take away? And you can always manually redact any piece as well, right? So I just redacted Satya's last name. There we go, hit done and hit save, right? So very easy for you to create and submit formatted resumes. We also have bulk emailing, bulk texting capabilities built into the system. That's number one. Similarly, you have a client portal. So I'm just going to Warner Brothers, right? So we've got a client portal where a bunch of different, clients are there, and you can track all your business development, placements, everything with a client right over here as well. We have integration with DocuSign. So if you want to send out contracts and get them signed by candidates, by clients, very easy for you to do that. RecruiterFlow also comes with built-in sequencing, right? So if you're not familiar with sequences, it's basically a cadence of touch points, whether that's emails, text messages, calls, whatever that is, that goes out to your prospective candidates or prospective clients. And if they respond to your outreach, it will automatically stop and you take over the conversation. So how this essentially works is, let me just go to this particular sequence right over here. So this is a 4-step sequence. Step 1 is an email. Step 2 and step 3 are also email. And step 4 is a text message. I can configure a schedule, right? Like the first email goes out. And this email is not like it's not a promotional email. This email is going from your Outlook, from your Gmail, whatever you are using. So it's like one-on-one communication that you're having with that person, but at scale, right? So, and it's really, really, you can really personalize your outreach. You can even use ChatGPT to suggest ideas and write emails for you. So we can use tags like first name, last name, the current company, current job title, things like that. So the first email goes out. If there is no response, wait for 3 days, follow up at 2:30. Still no response, wait for 2 days, follow up. And then you can keep following up with your prospects. So it's really, really helpful when you are going after prospective clients, prospective candidates. And what we have seen is if you send out just one message compared to sending out a sequence of 3 or 4 messages, you can easily increase your response rates easily by 40%, right? And what this gives you, it also gives you analytics on, how many people are opening your email, how many people are responding to your emails. You can basically learn from your mistakes, iterate, and keep getting better and better at it. So you've seen customers who have kind of doubled their response rates within just 6 months of doing this process. And what that means is if to make one placement, you have to source 100 candidates. Now you're sourcing just 50 candidates, or you're rather still sourcing 100 candidates, but you're now placing 2 candidates instead of one. So that's the kind of efficiency that you can drive with sequences. So that's number one, automated outreach. And another feature, we call it recipes. This is essentially marketing automation, as I said, built for recruiting and staffing firms, right? So what this does is that you can create these different rules in the system. So I'm going to show you this one. Like I have created a very simple rule that if a candidate gets disqualified from a job, automatically send them polite disqualification email, right? So there are key things that you can achieve with automation, right? So one is you can have very consistently stellar candidate experience without any additional input, any additional manual work that you have to do, right? So that is number one. Number two is you can have very consistent and tight processes that you can run with RecruiterFlow with automation. So what does that mean? So what that means is, let's say you want to have a process where if you have a candidate that is submitted, you don't have any feedback from the client yet, but you want to stay in touch with that person. You don't want to miss out on just telling them that, hey, I'm still on it, just kind of bear with me and give me some time. You just want to say that, and it goes a long way towards building that better candidate experience, right? So you can do that. You can say that if a candidate is submitted but no response from the client for 7 days, automatically just alert me to tell the candidate that, hey, I'm still on it, something like that. You can. So that's just one example. You can do things like if a candidate is hired, you have a guarantee period. You can keep automatically following up with candidates, with the hiring managers, just to see everything is going well. You can on the day that the candidate starts, you can automatically we have integrations with Sendoso and some of the other products where you can automatically send them, let's say, a gift basket, right? So things like that you can do to just give yourself an extra edge. And the third is nurturing, right? So almost all recruiters, if you're especially if you're starting up, you're going to be working in a small niche, and a small niche is only going to have so many A players, right? And then your job is to work with those A players and get your clients to access to those A players. And one of the biggest problems that recruiters face is that there is just so much work that a lot of their relationships kind of become transactional. And that's what we help them eliminate, right? So what you can do is you can say, if I have found an A player, if I tag somebody as A player, I want to stay in touch with this person every 90 days, right? So I want, if it's their birthday, I want to send them a happy birthday message, something like that. And it all gets done on autopilot without any manual input from you. So it's like having a marketing automation system that's built specifically for recruiters. So we do these things. We make some of these very, very pertinent use cases super easy to execute for recruiters.
And then I'm curious, do you also have like a data analytics portion? Just overall?
Oh yeah, we do. So, and it's very visual. We have integrations with Microsoft Power BI, and Google Data Studio is also on the way. If you want to get very, very crazy with the data, you can still do it. And all the major metrics, you can still track in RecruiterFlow. Like I have how many new candidates you are adding. So let's just do this month, let's do last month, right? So you can see every day how many candidates are being added. I can group this by different users in my team. And let's just look at aggregate data. So all different kinds of visualizations. I can even see, how many candidates we are screening, submitting, interviewing with the client, placing, and I can, what is my funnel look like? And I can do this by client, by each recruiter in the team. I can see how, what is our velocity? So how many days that a candidate spends in a particular status. So all the key metrics that relate to your performance, to your velocity, and your quantitative amount of work that you've done all gets tracked very, very easily, both on the recruiting side and the sales side. Right? And we have a bunch of different data functions, right? Like we can automatically, if we have old data, we can automatically refresh all of that data. So if somebody moves jobs, that's probably a good time, or somebody gets promoted, that's probably a good time to reach out to them for either as a hiring manager to do sales, or both for recruiting as well in some cases. And whenever somebody in your contact changes their jobs, we will send you an alert that, hey, this person has changed jobs from A to B, good time to reach out to them. So you can automatically refresh data. We can find their new contact information. And we have AI matching. So if you have a job, you can match jobs to relevant candidates in your database. In fact, we have developed our own large language models. It's currently under beta testing with a small set of customers, but it's like language model built for recruiters. You can ask it questions, right? Like you can literally ask it like, hey, I have, let's say, a client who is in mobile gaming and they are looking for a product manager now. And so mobile gaming is, let's say, very close to some other industries like esports. It's very close to just other consumer mobile products, right? So it can suggest that, hey, these are the kinds of things that you should look at. And if that looks okay to you, you can just say thumbs up and it'll give you a list of 25 candidates that you should look at. As you select and reject candidates, tomorrow it will give you another list which takes care of this feedback as well. So, and this is all done on our proprietary in-house large language model.
I think that's really cool. So I guess my biggest takeaway, Manan, if I'm understanding correctly, is by utilizing your tool and by being able to embrace your future developments in AI, us recruiters won't have to think anymore.
No, that's actually quite the opposite. Quite the opposite, in my opinion. It's a lot of these things will get so commoditized, and that specialty of recruiters, right? Like building relationships, understanding people, understanding what gets said between the lines, what recruiters do really, really well is going to become ever more important. And that's how I think about this.
Well, I got to say, I mean, first of all, hats off to you and the team. I think in the past 20 minutes or so, again, it just looks fantastic. I think UI is, to me, just as important as UX. Like the UX can be fantastic, but if it just doesn't look good, a lot of people are just going to be turned off. And I think the navigation, the UX, is very intuitive. It's very fast. I love a lot of the things that you talked about. I mean, from integrations to the automations, which is fantastic, to even the nurturing component within your recipes. I think it's a lot of the stuff that we do, again, is just super mundane or just manual, right? And you have to just keep track, and you have to either write notes or put in your calendar, set reminders. And I think instead of like having a lot of software, the whole idea is like RecruiterFlow can be like a one-stop shop, right? Like it basically can handle a lot of things, all the way to even integrating with DocuSign to executing contracts with future clients, which I think is a really, really cool component. I think this looks great. What about people who are watching this and they're like, you know what, I'm using my own CRM right now. I'm using my own ATS right now. Like, what's the process of migrating from a pre-existing ATS to RecruiterFlow? How is that process? Is that difficult? Is that easy?
In most cases, it's super easy. If you are coming from any other software in the market, we have a dedicated migration team, both on the engineering and customer success side, who are going to work with you, understand how your data is structured, how your processes are structured, and they're going to move all of that to RecruiterFlow. They're also going to suggest you, hey, you were running some of these processes. This is what you were doing. You probably wouldn't need to do that because you're moving to an upgraded or a new technology platform. So we work with our clients to do that as well. And yeah, it depends. So some migrations are super, super simple. So it just takes 1 week. Some migrations are more complex. So they can take 6 to 8 weeks, but we have in-house team of experts who do this day in and day out. So you'll be taken care of.
Would you be able to share just where's the company located? Do you have a distributed team? Are you kind of localized within a specific area, in case people are curious?
Oh yeah, sure. So we are a remote team, but are spread across 3 countries. Our largest is India. And after India, we have UK and Sri Lanka. And come 2024, we will have a couple of people in North America as well.
Amazing. And so if people are kind of excited and curious and they really resonate with a lot of the things that you shared about in this video and they want to get started, can you share maybe like how does the pricing work? Is it a one-time fee? Is it a monthly fee for the audience?
Sure. So we are a subscription software. So it's a monthly fee. Prices, so there are 3 packages: basic, pro, and advanced. You have 2 options. Either you can pay month on month or you can pay annually for your licenses. And it starts from $85 per user per month and goes till $99 per user per month. So you have different options, different choices. Our team, whenever you talk to us, so go to our website, which is recruiterflow.com, schedule a demo. Take a free trial if you want to experience the product first. We are very, very confident about our product, and we know if you have experienced the product, there is a very good chance that you will convert to RecruiterFlow. But talk to our team, and they will be able to guide you on what's the best package for you.
Perfect. And can you just share, like, who is your typical customer? Do you work with like the solo recruiter, or do you work with large agencies, or is it just a broad spectrum?
No, it's not a broad spectrum. So we are very specifically focused on small and medium recruiting businesses. So our customers range from solo recruiter, like a one-person army, all the way till about 80 to 100 recruiters kind of teams. So that's where we mostly operate. Although we do have some larger customers, but this is the sweet spot where that 90% of our customers are located in.
And what are you most excited about in the future, like future developments of RecruiterFlow? I know you touched upon your betaing AI capabilities and developments of that aspect. Anything else that you can possibly give our audience a little teaser to what to expect?
Yeah. So one big theme for us for 2024, our product, in terms of our product roadmap, is doing more with the data that you have, right? So what we realized is our customers, they have a lot of data, and we are but they still, their data is old. They still, they still rely on whether Indeed, LinkedIn, whatever it is, to find candidates that are already there in their database for relationships that they already have, right? So, and what we have can possibly change that, where your first intuition, right, like our first instinct to kind of search for a candidates will be RecruiterFlow. So we will be able to suggest you better candidates. We will be able to suggest you better jobs. We'll be able to suggest you clients that you should go after, and all your data will always be fresh, right? So that's what we are coming out with in 2024. I'm really excited about it. I think that can be a major step change for the industry.
I think RecruiterFlow in the beginning was very much focused as like the go-to product, all things ATS and CRM focused. But it seems like as you progress into the future, it's now all about analyzing all the different steps that a recruiter does and asking yourself, like, how can we make it better for recruiters? How can we make it more optimized, more efficient? How can we embrace new technologies to possibly disrupt the whole space? And as a recruiter myself, I think it's just very exciting to hear from a founder like yourself in the recruiting tech space who's developed not only a great product, but you also have a clear vision on where the product could be. And I think you've done a wonderful job in executing to the product to create it to where it is now. I've already seen and heard so many great things, and just to hear it directly from you and being able to see a lot of the past couple of minutes, your direct screen share, and hear your own thought process of what you and your team did is really, really awesome. And I hope that not only I understood this, but the audience that are watching and listening can understand this as well. And we're just really excited to see what you guys can do in the future, and wish you nothing but absolute success, Manan.
Well, thank you so much. It was a treat speaking with you, Preston. I've been following your videos for a very long time, and privileged to be here.
Perfect. So if you are excited to try RecruiterFlow, try Manan, feel free to reach out to them, go to their website, but make sure you continue to watch a little bit longer, as we might have a special deal and offer just for you. But Manan, thank you so much for, again, your time. I know you're busy. You have a global team. You have a fantastic product, and I'm excited to keep in touch with you and hear your journey as well. And if there's any ways that we can continue to support and help each other out, I would love nothing more than do that. But thank you so much again. And I'm really, really excited about RecruiterFlow.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, Preston. And I'm very excited to be working with you.
Perfect. Likewise. I'll see you soon. So, what do you think of RecruiterFlow? In my opinion, apart from the obvious fantastic UI and overall design feeling, I really loved its simple and intuitive user experience, the ability to easily visualize, modify, and manage the candidates and process with different clients, how you can set up automations for outreach and nurturing purposes, to its data and analytics section where you can really analyze on a granular level how you and the team are doing. With that said, as I mentioned at the start of the video, we do have an exciting announcement. If you are excited to try RecruiterFlow for yourself and for your business, please go to the link below to get up to 15% off. Really hope that you enjoyed this video. Try out RecruiterFlow, and I hope it takes your business to the next level. If you like this video and want to see more like it, feel free to give us a like, subscribe, click that bell. Really means a lot, and we'll see you on the next one.